Today, we're going to dive into a game-changing tip that's going to make your long-distance runs feel like a walk in the park. If you've watched my previous video, you know you can improve your running economy by shortening your stride length by 3 to 8% depending on your running level. That means if you make shorter steps, you'll get less tired. However, if you want to keep the same speed though, if you shorten the steps, that can only mean that you need to make more of those shorter steps. In other words, you need to increase your running cadence. Easier said than done. I know many of you have tried to increase their running cadence because of the energy saving thing and then the reduction of injuries and yada yada yada. And maybe you've already tried things like running to music that's faster than your current step rate. And it kind of works for a bit. And then you quickly revert to your comfortable cadence. It's like you're changing back to your favorite track. See what I did there? Your favorite track, because we're talking about music and then running track, running. You've also tried the metronome trick, setting it up to 5 to 8% faster, and it doesn't stick. I've definitely suggested those tips to many runners with mixed results. I mean, for some, it's really easy to have a sense of rhythm. It's natural, but for some others, it's just so hard to stick like a robot to that perfect cadence. Fortunately, as usual, I've got you covered. We've got some solutions hidden somewhere in the science. So we're going to break it down today and optimize your running cadence organically without any fancy numbers, without any gadgets. Let's step up our game. Salut, c'est Safe Motions. So, many coaches cue their runners to swing their arms faster in order to get their legs to follow. I'm certainly guilty of that as well. But how long are these runners going to be able to keep that arm pace up for? Worse than that, trying to control your arms so much might lead to imbalances or aggravate them if you don't address the core reason why these arms might not be swinging well. So stick around. I'll tell you what to change, and I promise you there'll be no magic figures like 180. We'll do all of this organically, naturally. These changes will be hopefully simple enough so they stick for the long term. For the tips, you can skip towards the end of the video, because I'll do a little bit of mumbo jumbo before that. Science and stuff. Because here are the usual tips that you've been given. And if you've never tried them, do try them. Maybe they'll work for you. Even if it says, for example, in this study from 2023 that music doesn't affect running cadence. They took runners, plugged them into music that the beat was faster than their usual step rate. So if they run at a cadence of 150 beats per minute, then they choose a song that's maybe 155, 160 beats per minute. Turns out that they changed nothing to their cadence. And it didn't make them run faster either. What it did do, it increased their heart rate by 5%. It's like music made them more stressed without changing anything about their speed or their running cadence. So, in general, will music help you increase your cadence? Apparently not. Still worth a try. Feel free to share your experience in the comments. For the defense of music though, I really do think that music helps motivate you to push further and to run for longer distances. Here's a fun fact. I read in a study a long time ago that cursing and cussing during high interval workouts actually boosts your performance. Swear your way up to better performance. But even if you did manage to improve your step rate, how long is that going to last for? That recent study using a metronome seems to say that at least 2 weeks. And then what? Okay, great. So what's left to try? So for that, you need to understand that your step rate is mostly determined by your core strength and your running form altogether. That's why artificially changing how fast your legs turn around or artificially changing how fast your arms swing is only like putting a band-aid on an injury. It's not fixing the root cause. Take arm swings, for example. They're there to stabilize you laterally, so from side to side, and they're there to make you focus on going straight ahead. The arm swings as a balancing device is synced up with your legs and not the other way around. There's a great study out there where they took runners and they had them run with their hands behind their backs, their hand across their chests, and their hands behind their heads. Now, unsurprisingly, this required respectively 3, 9, and 13% more effort than running normally. Actually, having tried those myself, I find that having the hands behind the head, I can sort of still swing my arms a little bit, so I find more balance in the torso than when my hands are across the chest. Why don't you try it out and let me know in the comments what you think about it. Having said that, they weren't running much slower at all. The way the human compensates for the lack of arm swings is simply by rotating the torso and the shoulders a little bit more. Now, more surprisingly to me, the more restricted the arms were, the higher the step rate. So Are we on to something there? Is running with your hands behind your back increasing your cadence? I mean, it's probably not a good idea. Imagine if you don't have the core strength and you have to rotate your torso when you're running. There's got to be a better solution than that. Again, there's a very tight relationship between the upper body and the lower body when we run. We need to have that counterbalancing movement in order to be able to go straight and not just swivel from side to side. That relationship goes upwards, so whatever the legs do dictates what the upper body does as a consequence. I haven't found many studies at all, none actually, that focus on the opposite. Is there an influence of upper body motion onto the lower body motion? Can your cadence of arm swings influence the cadence of your legs? If you know any studies out there that talk about it, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to read them. Now, if you're confused right now, please hit the like button because I'm confused as well. But wait, you know I've got your back. So here's what we know. If you swing your arms in an exaggerated way, or if you swing your arms asymmetrically, now this has a negative influence overall on your body mechanics. That can lead to injuries. If you don't swing your arms at all, then you need to compensate by rotating your torso a little bit too much, probably. That can also lead to injuries. We also know that if you find that you're swinging your arms too slowly or your step rate is too low, it's probably due to an underlying problem that you need to find and fix. Here, finally, is where you're going to find your middle ground in 3 steps. Number 1, keep your arm motions to a bare minimum for distance running. That means avoid large pendulums or big movements that could destabilize you. So don't cross that midline. And remember, you're trying to go forward, so your arms need to go somewhat in that direction. Step 2, keep your elbows close to the body and then use those shoulder joints here. Get that motion going as opposed to a torso rotation. Step number 3, we also want to minimize the energy expenditure. That's the whole point of this. Keeping your elbows bent at 90 degrees is pretty much where your biceps muscles has to spend the most energy. So don't bend your elbows at 90 degrees. In fact, if we're taking into account step 1 and 2, you want to stay a little bit more collected, have your elbows a little bit tucked in, shoulders relaxed, and start beating those drums. Keep your wrists relaxed, but not flailing side to side either. Let's check the arm motions of elite runners, for example. I hope I have videos. I definitely have some photos, but not sure about videos. So if you film yourself and you find that your arms are not swinging well, maybe asymmetrically, that's definitely something that you need to look into rather than fixing how visually your arms are swinging. Just investigate, work on your core strength, and then find out what your asymmetries are. There might be some that you're not even aware of. You can use one of my videos for that. I'll put it right here. Test your asymmetries. And remember, the goal is to find a rhythm that works for you, that is at the same time comfortable and hopefully keeps you safe from injuries. Listen to your body, make small adjustments, and mostly enjoy yourself. Running should be fun. I'll see you in the next one. À bientôt!